In the mysterious realm of crime, the golden rule is to steer clear of law enforcement and maintain an inconspicuous existence. After all, leaving clues for the police is like drawing your own arrest warrant. It's almost unheard of for a culprit to return to the crime scene to mock the police and claim they have the solution. But believe it or not, that's precisely what unfolded on July 25th, 2022. In Essex, while officers were investigating a crime, a man casually strolled up with a bottle of brandy, declaring he knew more details than he probably should have.
Who are you looking for?
I'm looking for a I can help her. What's going on? And
Uniform
what
one night. So you think something's happened to a male in this address?
No, I know what happened.
What
I know
happened then?
everything.
Tell me
I know
what
everything.
happened.
This city is mine because I know what happened. And you need me to figure it out, what happened. If you don't have me, you don't know what happened. You're gonna think about me, but it's not gonna be me because you have no proof.
Can you get in the van, please? You've been arrested, okay?
I've been arrested, yes, so
trying,
send me the law.
We're trying not.
Okay,
we're
send me.
trying not to manhandle you, but we need you to get in the van.
In 2019, Merek Hecko, a young man hailing from Slovakia, packed his bags and set off on an adventure to the United Kingdom. He ultimately chose to make Chelmsford his new home, a charming city situated roughly 30 miles northeast of London. The allure of boundless opportunities and a chance to start anew enticed Merek, then only 23, to this foreign country. He was more than ready to leave his mark on the world and carve out a unique path for himself. To realize his dreams, Merek rolled up his sleeves and plunged headfirst into work. He juggled 2 jobs, one as a waiter and the other as a chef, putting in long hours to seize the opportunities that presented themselves. Fast forward to 2021, a couple of years later, and it looked like Merek had comfortably nestled himself into UK life. He had not only secured a stable income, but also successfully built a fulfilling life for himself. His personal life was also on an upward trajectory. In October 2021, he met Stephanie Bream, a local bar lady from Chelmsford, and sparks flew almost instantly. Merek was head over heels for Stephanie, always seeking her company and cherishing the time they spent together. However, like any love story, theirs was not without its bumps. As their relationship blossomed, Stephanie began noticing some unsettling patterns in Merek's behavior. Deception and dishonesty started to muddle their romance, casting a shadow over what had initially seemed like the perfect relationship. Despite Merek's continuous denials, Stephanie couldn't shake off the suspicion that he might be using drugs. She was all too familiar with the signs, and Merek was showing them in abundance. Even without expertise, one could tell when Merek was under the influence. By May 2022, 6 months into their relationship, Stephanie Bream reached her breaking point and ended things with Merek. She confessed that trust, the backbone of their relationship, had eroded away, leaving no room for their love to continue. While the breakup was on good terms, Merek found it challenging to let go. He turned to flooding her with heartfelt text messages, pleading for another chance. The frequency and intensity of the messages soon began to cross into obsessive territory. He even started showing up unannounced at her home and workplace, insisting she hear him out. Merek went as far as falsely claiming a diagnosis of colon cancer, a fabricated ploy to gain her sympathy and win her back. However, Merek's attempts proved futile, as the trust had already been shattered, and Stephanie found it hard to believe anything he said. His relentless messages, persistent pleas, and unwelcome visits didn't deter him, but they couldn't sway Stephanie's resolve either. In a quest fueled by curiosity and suspicion, he found himself constantly visiting her Facebook profile. He scored every post she engaged with, trying to deduce if she had moved on to another relationship. He meticulously went through profiles of people whose pictures she liked, people who earned her comments on their statuses, and even her new Facebook friends. The idea that she was seeing someone else was firmly ingrained in his mind, and he was certain this was why she no longer wanted to be with him. Ironically, Merek wasn't entirely off the mark. While her reluctance to be with him was not related to a new flame, it was true that Stephanie had recently started dating again. Not long after parting ways with Merek Hecko, Stephanie Bream began a new chapter with Adrian Allingford. A 44-year-old inhabitant of Chelmsford, Adrian was widely recognized as a diligent man who never hesitated to lend a helping hand to friends and neighbors in need. He was a proud father to 2 boys, aged 10 and 12, and regularly dedicated his time to the local Boys Scout group. Despite his commendable qualities as a father and friend, Adrian was not without his own shortcomings. Adrian was romantically involved with Stephanie Bream, while he had a wife waiting at home. Their marriage had been 17 years, and his relationship with Stephanie was clearly an affair. However, it appeared that neither Stephanie nor Adrian seemed too perturbed by the affair, continuing their rendezvous whenever possible. One afternoon, as Stephanie eagerly awaited Adrian's arrival, an unexpected knock came at her door. It was Merek, her ex-boyfriend, who had come to collect some of his left-behind belongings. Stephanie promptly handed over his things, yet Merek lingered, choosing to perch on the porch for an additional 40 minutes. He pleaded for Stephanie's forgiveness, expressing his relentless love for her. As Merek stood there, professing his love, Adrian drove up for his usual date with Stephanie. He crossed paths with Merek on his way into the house. Despite not exchanging words or even acknowledging Merek, he sure did capture Merek's attention. Merek couldn't help but wonder about the identity of the man who had just walked into Stephanie's house, but his inquiries were met with silence. Given that Stephanie was still residing with her mom, he was unsure if this newcomer, Adrian, was there for her or was a friend of her mom's. Instead of prying further, he gently requested Stephanie to reconsider their relationship. As she continued to disregard his pleas, a weary Merek finally decided to leave, the question of the stranger's identity still lingering in his mind. Fast forward to July 24th, 2022, just 2 months post their breakup. Adrian was spotted with Stephanie and her mom. Rumor has it that they enjoyed a casual evening at a nearby pub before heading back to Stephanie's place. Back home, their jovial conversation continued in the garden until they decided to retire for the night around 1 a.m. Adrian and Stephanie retreated to her upstairs bedroom, while her mom took to her own room on the ground floor. As per cell phone records, Stephanie was last active on her phone at 2:43 a.m., suggesting that she most likely drifted off to sleep shortly before 3. However, her peaceful slumber was abruptly disturbed around an hour and a half later. Adrian was already up, whispering to her that he believed someone had just been in their room. In her half-awake state, she questioned what he was saying. As he stumbled towards her from the foot of the bed, he reiterated someone had been in their home, then he abruptly crumpled to the floor. Taking in the scene, Stephanie noticed Adrian was covered in blood. Without missing a beat, she quickly phoned her mother for assistance. As her mother rushed upstairs, Stephanie was already on the line with 999, desperately trying to make sense of the bizarre situation to the operator. Throughout the nerve-wracking 11-minute call, Stephanie's mind spun, attempting to fit the pieces of the horrifying puzzle together. As the moments ticked by, the chilling reality began to take shape. Adrian had suffered a brutal attack, stabbed twice with such force that the second thrust shattered the blade, leaving it lodged in his back. The emergency services arrived soon after, but tragically, they declared Adrian dead at the scene. The police sprung into action, securing the crime scene and beginning their meticulous hunt for evidence. They found no evidence of forced entry, yet Stephanie often left the sliding door open due to the sweltering July heat. The front door was also ajar, leading the police to believe that the intruder had slipped in through the open sliding door, then exited via the front door. At the foot of the stairs, they discovered the knife handle, and an empty wine bottle was found outside the house. The police continued their diligent search for clues, and as night gave way to dawn, an unexpected lead presented itself. Around 7:30 a.m., a visibly drunk man approached them, brandishing a bottle of brandy. The information he provided instantly piqued their interest.
Who are you looking for?
I'm looking for a I can help her. What's going on? and
Uniform
what
one
happened.
night?
Yeah, I can help her. What's going on? Yeah. No, I know what happened. I know the people they involved. So,
Go again.
but we need to dig deep. You know.
Thank you. What's your name?
I'm not gonna tell you my name. I don't give a because I know what happened, and you need me to figure it out what happened. If you don't have me, you don't know what happened.
I'm
I
looking
just
for
know that some guy come here,
it. Yeah.
and then he up some guy. I don't know what
What?
happened.
Right.
I don't know what happened. He just got. You're gonna think about me, but it's not gonna be me because there's no proof.
So you think something's happened to a male in this address?
No, I know what happened.
What
I know
happened then?
everything.
Tell me
I know
what
everything.
happened.
This city is mine. I'm not gonna
This
tell you
city's
what
yours,
happened.
is it?
Yeah, this city is mine.
Can you get in the van, please? You've been arrested, okay? We're trying
I've
to.
been arrested.
We're
Yeah, so
trying,
send me the law.
We're trying not.
Okay,
we're
send
trying
me.
not to manhandle you, but we need you to get in the van.
In the early morning of July 25th, 2022, Merek Hecko found himself in handcuffs, initially picked up on suspicions of drunk and disorderly behavior. However, as the day progressed, by 4:45 p.m., he was charged with a much graver accusation, the murder of Adrian Ellingford, catapulting him to the top of the suspect list. Just a few months later, in February 2023, Hecko found himself on trial. Over the span of the 3-week trial, the prosecution painted a picture of a man unable to let go of his past. They claimed that Merek was deeply obsessed with his ex, Stephanie, his obsessive behavior escalating to stalking her once their relationship ended. When he found out she had moved on, he was unable to accept it, and this led him to take drastic measures. The prosecution presented CCTV footage from the fateful morning of July 25th, showing Merek buying 2 bottles of wine at a garage on Rainsford Road in Chelmsford at 3:47 a.m. He was seen heading towards Nelson Grove, where Stephanie was residing. Interestingly, at 4:45 a.m., just after the incident occurred, he was spotted again, but this time he was headed in the opposite direction and with only 1 bottle of wine in his possession. The prosecution proposed that Merek had visited Stephanie's home and consumed 1 bottle of wine outside her house, leaving the empty bottle behind. The evidence supporting this was the discovery of his DNA on the bottle. It was suggested that after finishing the wine, Hecko entered the house through an open sliding door, where he found Ellingford in bed with Stephanie. In a shocking turn of events, a man was stabbed twice in the back before the assailant made his exit through the house's front door, carelessly dropping the knife handle at the foot of the stairs. Traces of the culprit's DNA were found on the discarded handle. Merek Hecko, however, vehemently denied any connection to the crime, maintaining that neither the wine bottle nor the knife found at the scene belonged to him. He reasoned that his DNA may have been present due to frequent visits to the house, suggesting a possible cross-contamination. Hecko also claimed his return to the scene was driven by a desire to comfort Stephanie after hearing about the incident on the morning news. But the prosecution was swift in refuting his claims, noting that when Hecko appeared at the scene, no details of the incident had been made public or reported in the news. On March 14, 2023, after a short spell of deliberations, Merek Hecko was found guilty of Adrian Ellingford's murder by the jury at Chelmsford Crown Court. He received a life sentence with a minimum term of 26 years before he could apply for parole. Following the verdict, Adrian's wife issued a heartfelt tribute to her late husband and said the following: "Adrian was my amazing husband of 17 years. As well as being my husband, he was a loving son, a caring brother, a friend to many, and most importantly, a truly brilliant father to our boys. They will not have Adrian with them through the milestones in their lives. He will never be able to teach them to drive, buy them their first drink, or celebrate their academic achievements. He will never see them grow up into young men who will have partners and families of their own. No one will ever be able to replace their dad. Adrian, you will always be missed by us as your family, and you will always hold a special place in our hearts. We miss you every day and love you forever."